the clerk this morning.
Okay, hold on just a second. Ms. Hunter?
No, he has not, Your Honor.
All right, do
The
you all,
charge, okay, I was gonna say the state's recommendation, depending on what he wants to do today, if he wants to enter not guilty, of course, he can do that. But if he wants to enter a plea, he can enter a plea, for a fine of $50.
okay, so Mr. Chastain, you have the option to enter a plea of not guilty, which would entitle you to a trial, either a jury trial or a bench trial. Now, jury trials are going to be a little bit difficult in the time of COVID. We don't know when we're going to start those again, but we do know that bench trials we can give you pretty quickly. And that's a trial with a judge presiding and deciding guilt or innocence, and also the sentence in the case. So what Ms. Hunter is saying is that if you wish to enter a plea of guilty to the offense, or nolo if you're eligible, then the fine would be $50 today, which is actually $73.25 with the surcharges. If you enter a guilty plea, if it is a moving violation, I do have to inform you that there may be the potential for points on your license. It does not, based on the fine that is being offered by the state, doesn't appear that it is a one of the offenses which would result in a suspension of your license, but there are some traffic offenses that could result in a suspension of 120 days of your driving privileges. So I'd just like to make you aware of that. To avoid points on your license or any suspension of your license in some cases, oftentimes you can use a NOLO plea if you're NOLO eligible, which means that you have not used a NOLO plea within the last 5 years. Also, whether if it's the first time that this offense has been committed in 5 years. So there's a lot of ifs with a NOLO plea, but if you are NOLO eligible, we will tell you if you want to consider that. Ms. Hunter, what's the offense?
The improper lane change with an
All
accident.
right. Okay, so sir, it is a moving violation, so it could result in some points on your license. Is he NOLO eligible, Ms. Hunter?
I'm trying to get my investigator to look that up for me this morning to see, but I don't, because I don't have his driving history since it is a TK, so I would need to obtain it.
All right, so Mr. Chastain, so the investigator is going to try and check and see if you're NOLO eligible. If you were to enter a NOLO, but you've already used one within the last 5 years, you would not get the same benefits from the Department of Driver Services. So if you just hold on a moment, we're going to have to check and make sure you're NOLO eligible if you choose to use the NOLO in this case. Would you like to do that, sir?
I need to inform you that I do have it is a CDL driver's license.
Ooh, thank you for informing me. Usually I give that my CDL speech. So here's the thing about CDLs. We can't promise you what the moving violation is going to do to your CDL, because that involves federal law and state law. And so it's a combination of things that we don't generally deal with, and we can't give you any advice. What I do say in the case of a CDL, and thank you for informing me because I generally make that speech, is that if you have a commercial driver's license and your livelihood depends on you having an active commercial driver's license, what I generally advise is that you would enter a plea of not guilty. That gives you time to prepare for trial or plea, and you would have plenty of time to research the effect of a conviction at trial or a plea of guilty or NOLO, because a NOLO plea could have a detrimental effect on a commercial driver's license also. So if you entered a plea of not guilty, that could assist you with finding out what could happen to your commercial driver's license between now and the time you are called for trial. And then when you come for trial, if at that time you decide to take a plea, that's fine. We can do it on the same day, no problem.
Okay.
Because I've had individuals come and they do a plea to an offense before me, and then they come back 3 or 4 months later because their commercial driver's license has had a negative effect based on the plea. So I would prefer you research that first because it's much harder to undo what we do Okay?
Okay. I was advised, kind of, not officially advised, obviously. I had just talked to someone about this 45 minutes ago. It was the
Okay.
first time I heard anything from anybody about how this could affect my license. I've paid the $75 back in October.
And that's
Um,
fine. What this calendar is, because you pay, it doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity to come before a court and have your case reviewed. And so even if you pay, we have to give you the opportunity to actually have what they call your day in court. So that's not a problem. The problem is we can't advise you. And the
Right.
people in the clerk's office, nobody's going to
Right.
tell you that this could be possibly a detriment. I make the announcement. I don't even know if other judges do, but I make the announcement because I've seen that it has happened in my court where individuals with a commercial driver's license have had to come back and try and undo it. And there's a certain period of time where I'm able to do some things, but after a certain period of time, I have no control over the case. And so I cannot undo it. And what I would prefer is that before we make that crucial decision that could affect your license and your ability to make a living, I give you some time to research that. Now, I'm not sure who advised you, but I do say that there are some people who know about this area of law, and then there are a lot of people who don't.
Right. In all honesty, no, I cannot afford to have my license suspended over just a simple traffic accident.
Right.
I've had
And
a
see,
clean record
moving
for 23 years.
violations, I'm sorry, moving violations tend to affect, and I used to have where a lot of times we're operating from some location other than my courtroom. I really don't even operate in my courtroom anymore. I'm in the building, but not in the courtroom. And so I used to have a chart that they gave us at a training that gave us some idea of what might happen, but we don't really rely on that because law changes, and also it depends on your particular driving record. So I can't advise you as to what might happen, but we
Right.
have been cautioned that a moving violation could have a detrimental effect on your commercial driver's license.
Okay.
So do you want to enter a plea of not guilty and give yourself some time to figure it out?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Hunter, we're going to enter a plea of not guilty. If he is NOLO eligible, could you note that somewhere on the ticket so that when it comes up the next time, if he is wishing to, if he is researched and he's able to do a NOLO, then we may still think about that when it comes to the consideration at the time of trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. So Mr. Chastain, we're going to give you the information necessary for your trial. If anything changes about your license, because obviously you got the notice from the court. So if anything changes about where we sent the notice before, if your address changes, if any of your contact information changes, you have to let us know at the traffic court clerk's office. Otherwise, you'll be getting notice in the mail when we're ready to have the trial. And by then, you should have had the opportunity to speak with somebody who's knowledgeable about what effect this might have on your commercial driver's license, okay?
Okay.
All right, and do you have any other questions for me?
What do I need to, aside from research, and what do I need to do from this point on?
Well, you'll get a notice in the mail from us when it's time for trial, and you'll get it some time ahead, so you'll have the opportunity to be ready and be prepared. And if you're a commercial driver's license, hopefully you'll be in town. But once you get the notice, you'll know when it's time to come to court. Now, you'll make the decision about whether you want a bench trial, which would be quicker. But it may not be what you want because you're entitled to have a jury trial. So whether you want a bench trial or a jury trial, and then we will set you up on that list for those individuals who are on the trial list. And then once you get the notice, then you'll be prepared to appear at the date and time necessary. So you may have to appear in person if we're past our COVID crisis, or you may have to appear by video, which is what we're doing now. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So as it stands now, my license is still active and
Yes.
in good standing.
Well, this, because we're gonna undo, so when you pay, that acts as a guilty. So we'll undo that because you're having your offense reviewed. So that'll be undone. We'll set you up for a trial. And so at this point, there'll be no adjudication. You'll just have a pending charge. And that, to my knowledge, won't have an effect until such time as the case has been decided, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, is there anyone on the call from traffic court or from the solicitor's office who needs to amend anything I've said or to add anything?
Nothing from the state?
Okay, all right. So how does, we'll just send him notices. Mr., does he need to choose bench or jury trial now?
Judge, I'm not sure if they've set up any dates for bench trials, but but he can say it on the record right now, and I'll
Okay.
let Ms. Lisa Smith know so they can
Okay,
make note of it.
so Mr. Chastain, do you wish to have a jury trial or a bench trial when we come to your trial date? And like I said before, that's not set in stone. If on that date you decide that you have researched it and you wish to enter a plea, we can do that and there's no problem, okay?
Okay, I would like a bench trial.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Chastain, as long as your address stays the same, you're not required to do anything else. We'll send notice to you, but I do advise that you might want to get someone who's knowledgeable about both your driving record and the possibility of a conviction or a NOLO plea or a guilty plea, okay?
Okay.
All right, so sir, be safe out there on those roads.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. You have a good day.
You too, sir. All right, do we have anyone else whose case needs to be reviewed?
No, ma'am, it was just Mr. Chastain.
Okay, all right, well, I will see you all again at 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.